visible, guys? Anyone?
Can you be a little louder? Actually, cannot hear you.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
I'm saying like,
that's very low.
is my screen visible?
Yeah, your screen is visible, but your voice is very low.
Now is it okay?
Still a bit.
Okay, now is it okay?
No.
Okay. Hello. Is this okay? Or
Uh,
is it still low? Hope this is
better,
okay.
but not that. Okay.
I don't think I can go. Just a second. This should not happen. This is like my shouting. I can't shout more. But still, like, I hope you can like hear or turn off your volume.
Yeah. Now it's fine. Now it's fine.
Yeah, I hope. Wait.
No, it's very low. I can't hear properly.
Can you like turn your volume somehow up? Like, uh, you can go here and volume mixer, and you can put this a bit up, and you'd hear me more higher. You can do this because I don't think I can talk louder than this and continue because that's how I work.
No, it's
Yeah,
okay.
it's
Your
fine.
voice
It's fine.
No, no, it's okay now.
Okay, fine. If you have problem, like you can open the volume mixer and put this up, and your voice will be that sound will be coming a bit louder. Okay. So first to recap some stuff because we are meeting like after a month almost. Like we last did a session on about 15th or 14th, something like that, and today is 8. So we finished on the like left shift operator, and we had only right shift operator left from the operators part, which I'll be discussing. But there are a couple of things I have to discuss based on left shift operator before that. That is like only 2 or 3 people have done the left shift operator assignment uh, with the process that I taught, like how the shifts actually occur. Most of you have done with this formula of 2 to the power and multiplying it with 2 to the power n, and that's fine completely. But problem occurs in a different place, which I'll be showing. But again, like let's recap how left shift operators work. So I made this stuff in Paint. So somebody like suggested that can you teach in Paint? I can't do that because like it will take a lot more time, but I've created this beforehand. This was actually part of the last class preparation, but last class did not occur because of some reason. So let's not go into that. But basically, this is how left shift operators work. That all the bits are shifted this given number of places. So here it is 2. So you can see like if I give this, wait a second. This is 0. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and this is 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so see uh, this diagram, I think I can, okay, maybe I can move this, but you can see like uh, this goes to 2 places before this goes to 2 places before this goes to 2 places before this, and this goes to 2 places before this. How you understand this is like, see, we have created 2 more blocks. There were no 4 and 5, so we have created 2 more blocks here, and this stuff goes before this, and this are now, I mean, if you think about this, these are now empty and we fill it up with 0, so we get our final number. And this is 32 because like 8 into 2 square is a formula, but without the formula this is 2 to the power 5, and so we get this. Okay, so actually I did the number in reverse. To multiply you have to start 0 from the right side and then go here. Okay, so I think the numbering should have been, if I numbered reverse, it would have been easier to understand. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 3. So that's how it works. This was 3. It shifted to 2 places and went to 5. This was 2. It shifted to 2 places, went to 4. This was 1, shifted to 2 places, went to 3. This was 0, shifted to 2 places, went to 2. And now 2 places were vacant, so we have to fill it with something. We can't fill it with 1 because that changes the number, so we fill it with 0. because like 0 does not change the value. So we do that, and then we calculate the binary, and that is 2 to the power 5. That's 32. That's fine. Now you might be saying, but we can do this without doing all the steps. We can just multiply it with 2 square and we get 32. That's all. Uh, I mean, it saves the time. That's fine. You do that every time, no problem. But you should be knowing this concept. Why? Now I'll show you. Wait. Did I do this in here? Okay. So you see, this is a number. This is like a huge number, and this is 2 to the power 32. And we have like 1 and then 30 zeros. I did this dot 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 because I did not want to write 30 zeros. So I told you like binaries, I mean integer stores 31 bits. The first bit is reserved, I mean 32 bits. The first bit is reserved for the sign. So this is a positive number as you can see. So the sign is 0. And then it's an 1 and then 30 zeros. 2 to the power 30. Always remember like how many 2 to the power, whatever is the power, that number of zeros will be in its binary form. For example, if it is 8, that is 1 0 1 0 0, which is 2 to the power 3. Okay, so I have to ask like, is this clear till now? Then I'll show what is happening and what is the problem if you use the formula without knowing the concept, that is. So till now, is it clear? Yes, no? Only one? If you have any questions, like please ask. Like we are covering this again after a long time, so there might be problems, and I absolutely understand that. So anyone has any like doubts? If you don't have to write like yes, if you have a doubt, then you can like put it up. Okay, I guess no doubts so far. Okay, now I would like to ask. Just a second. Okay, now I'd like to ask like, what do you think would be the result of this C out A left shift 2? Okay, forget this C out part. Just think what would be the answer that would be printed. So do you think this is like this whole big number into 4, that is 2 square? Or do you think something else will happen? I'll give you like 1 minute to think, and like don't type this in a compiler. Just tell me the answer. Like if you know the concept, then only tell. Then you will be able to tell. Otherwise, even if you type it in a compiler, you would not understand why it is happening. So like tell me, do you think this will be like the answer will be multiplied by 4 uh, with this number, or will it be something else? And if you say something else, you have to like explain like why. Okay, so 1 minute. I'll give you time to think. Even if you have like any vague idea which is like not the answer, you can share that. Not a problem. Like anything that comes to your mind. So any opinions? You're almost up like 1 minute. Yeah, 1 minute is over. Maybe sir Eka. Maybe sir Eka what? Eka value print होगा. Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Repeat the question. The question is, what would be the value of this A left shift 2, where A is this number and this is equals to 2 to the power 30, which means the binary value would be 0, 1, and then 30 zeros. So like 30 more seconds because Iram asked to repeat the question. I think Iram was one of the people that did this correctly. Roham says 0. Okay, Roham, why? Why 0? Every digit we shifted twice. Okay, that's fine, but I want to know the answer. Like, of course, the digits will be shifted twice, but what would be the answer then? And those who are saying 0, why would it be 0? I mean, Iram can guess this right because he did it correctly with the concept, so I think he knows how this is happening. Okay, the answer will be 0, that's fine. But why? I mean, oh, okay, sorry. Sorry. Did I told you? I was always like referencing you with your name. Okay, I said if I said he, I'm sorry. I did not know. Okay, okay. Iram did it right. I did not think I. Okay, she did it correctly. Okay, fine. I guess. Yeah. So, what do you think would be the reason? Like anything, you can type or something. Like what would be the final binary number? Why it is zero? Because why would it be 0 0 0 0 0? That's why it's printing zero. 32 zeros. Any reasons? Okay, I guess because it is shifted. Okay, okay. I guess I would have to accept this because there's no way for you to show me here because this is an online class. Okay, fine. So yeah, the answer would be zero as you can see. Okay, I'll zoom this a bit. See, this is zero. I zoom too much anyways. So this is zero. Now, why would it be zero? I did that as well. So see, like integer as I said can only store 32 bits. Fine. That time when we took the last example, there were places for it to be creating new bits. Like this was 3, so it can always create another 2 bits because these were unfilled bits. It were filled with zeros already. So we can shift it to like 4 and 5 and 6 and whatever. But what is happening here is like this one is already at the 30th bit. So if it likes to go at 32, there is no 32th bit because it starts from 0 and goes to 31, which are 32 bits. So 32th bit is like the 30, which bit is number 32. It's actually 33rd bit. So that does not exist in the memory, right? Because this is integer. Integer can only store up to 32 bits, that is 0 to 31. So this tries to go to the 33, and this 0 tries to go to 30. Sorry, this one goes to the 33rd bit, that is number 32, and this tries to go to the 34th bit, that is number 33. These bits don't exist, so this gets lost somewhere, and all this get shifted uh, 2 times. So the remaining like binary is all zeros. So this 2 to the power 30 left shift 2 is equals to 0 and not multiplied by 4. So be careful while doing this left shift. That's like I had to say regarding this. That is key. So any questions anyone has till now? Any questions? Like if I have to like explain again, I can do that. And the thing is like VS Code does not give it a warning, but if you type this in online GDB, it gives you a warning that int can only store 32 bits. It cannot go to 33 and 34. For this number, you need 34 bits. It shows something like that. You can go type this short code snippet in online GDB as well. Okay, so any questions or we'd go ahead? Like I want 30 minutes at least for decision making today. Not showing what? Yeah, it won't show any error, but would show a warning, not an error. There is difference between an warning and an error. uh, it will show in online GDB and not VS Code. VS Code does not show that. Okay. So any other questions? Like there is difference between warning and error. Error is something that stops your program. Warning is a malpractice, which the compiler tells you don't do this, but you can do it. Okay, so it does not stop your program. Like smoking is injurious to health. That's a warning, but no one would stop you from smoking. Okay, but doing murder is actually an error, and if you do that you'd go to the jail. I think that's an analogy I can come up with. Okay, anyways, any questions? Like fast, we have to move ahead. I think if we can complete decision making, then it would be great. No questions, so I think we should go to right shift operators. Okay, I just copy this because right shift operators is exactly the same. Instead of multiplying, we divide the number by 2 to the power n. Okay, so an example would be like if oh, 2. So that is right shift operator. How this works, I'll show you. Created another slide. So this was the 8 example. Okay, I took the 8 example, not the 6, but this is basically the same, like so. See, yeah, I'll write the bits here. 0, 1, 3. Okay. So this time each bit is shifted right side. So there is no bit called -1, no bit called -2, etc. etc. No bits of minus. Okay. So if the 0 is shifted right side to two places, which is negative, and these bits don't exist, so they get lost. So that this one is shifted two places. I'll just write 1, 2, 3. Okay. Sorry, the 3 was horrible. This one is shifted to 1, 3. Third bit shifted to first bit, that is two places of shifts, but to the right side. So this one stays here, this 0 stays here. The resultant binary is 0010, which is 2. Okay, so that was all my artistry, and there will be no more paint slides anymore. Okay. So any questions? This comes to the end of the operators part. From next slide, from next part, we'll be starting decision making. But we take prime number of bits. What do you mean by prime number of bits? Uh, I don't understand. Can you like give me an example? What is prime number of bits? I mean, if it's a 3 bit, like 11 bits, but what are you trying to do with this 11 bits? If you shift two places, then the number at the 11th place would go to 9, right shift, I mean, 9. And if you do left shift, then it will go to 13. The binary calculation would like remain same. It does not change. So bits, with bits there is nothing to do with prime, non-prime, even, uneven, I mean odd. Yeah, the binary rules all follow exactly the same for whatever bits you take. You just have to take care that those bits exist. I mean, after shifting where the number is going, you have to see that if those bits exist or not. If they don't, that gets lots in the memory, like I showed you for this. If you take this as a long int that is of 64 bits, you'd get a number, like, just to show you. See, you get a number. Okay, so that's how it works. Because this is 64 bits, it can easily store that. But in case of pens, it only 32 bits, but it can't. So any questions, or we'd move ahead with a new file called depot text. Today, like, everyone's energy is a bit low. Maybe we are coming back after a long time. People have forgotten things, have lost some interest. But that was bound to happen because this is the festive season and there are a lot of holidays every now and then. Okay, so any questions till now? Yeah, that also is true. Everyone is sick. Even I was sick a couple of days ago. That's very sad actually. But do you have any questions till now? I mean, the recording is going on, so whenever they get well, they can see this recording, and if they have questions, then always you're welcome. You can even DM me on Discord if you have any code related questions, so that won't be a problem. I can tell you that. So as you saw in the poster, today's topic is decision making, and since no one is asking a question, I think, yeah, bitwise sucks because bitwise is part of a CP topic that's called bit manipulation, and that topic comes to the um, comes under the moderate difficulty. So you know, anything that is moderate difficulty in CP for students like us, it's like advanced. So bitwise is a bit tough. When I started, I also found all of this very confusing. And then slowly you type things, you do shifts, this, that, and then then you understand. That's how computer works. When I started programming, I used to do error. Like every program, I could not run any program at the first time, so there was an error. Then uh, with time it happens. Okay, I see a question. Basically in left shift we multiply 2 to the power n, and if we go by formula, yeah, by formula, that is correct, but you have to also know the concept how this formula comes. The concept is not dependent on the formula, but the formula is dependent on the concept. Okay, so concept would always be correct, but as I showed you, the formula might not always work. As you saw, like for 2 to the power 30, Why is there so much happy birthdays? I can tell you, it's not Aparup's birthday. Aparup has a weird, like, what can he say, fetish about wishing everyone happy birthday. I don't know why he does that, but that's his fetish. What can I do? Okay, so like that was the last question. I guess we move ahead with decision making. So, what is decision making basically? Like till now, what have we studied is like we can give data to the user, and the user does some operations on that and returns the result. Okay, but what if the computer has to decide at some point, like I want to like you leave a decision on a computer, like based on a certain scenario you do this, and based on a certain scenario you do that. So I'll give you example. If else statements, yeah, but like see, this is like for the beginners, so who does not know decision making, I have to give an introduction, so I'm doing that. But yeah, it's if else statements only, and switch as well, switch cases as well, that's part of decision making as well. So like as I say, suppose you have created a robot that has a screen on his body and that says like hi, and you have coded this in C++. So you have written C out hi and it shows hi always. Okay, now irritated, and because you also want to save power, you want this robot to not show high during night. Sir, I'm new here, so I'm not understand. Okay, first of all, I'm not sir. Secondly, like if you are new, like we have this videos of all the previous classes, so you can go through that. And the problem is like we already did 3 classes. Revising all of that now is like really not possible. So if you like want to learn C++ and you came today for the first class, you'd go through those videos like we have in YouTube. The links you'd get in Discord if you are there in a server, and from there you can do that. And then if you have any questions, you can ask. Okay, so is that fine, Prakash Kumar? Because like we can't revise back. We have a bit less time. Is that fine? So we can move ahead, I guess. Okay. So as I was saying, that you have created a robot, you have coded it in C++, and it shows hi, but at night you have like asked it to not show hi and just like shut down the machine. Okay. So till now what we have studied is we have not studied anything that can do this. We have like studied what results in a true, what results in a false, but the computer at this point cannot decide. Switch case, yeah, if else as well. But the computer at this point cannot decide from what we have learned. So decision making is something that we pass the control to the computer and let him decide based on the data which operation he should do. Okay, so I'll give you a brief introduction about decision making. What I've said is decision making refers to the selection of control flow based on certain conditions. So I'll go through this text, I mean this program. Let's say now the robot, each time you feed the robot its time, and the time is in only hours, no minutes and seconds. Okay, so first is 6 evening, you give it 18, and for 6 morning you give it 6. Okay, and we assume that after 6 it's night. Okay, so whenever computer sees that the number is greater than 18, then it does not show you high anymore. So like for the initial state, let's assume that the robot can print this for any year, any number of I mean for any time. So we also have to do like cout enter time. Okay, so now we have to first check that if the time is greater than 18 or less than 18. For greater than, we won't do anything. For less than, we print high. Okay, so you already know, like I told you, how you can evaluate statements. Like if time, we use the greater than or less than symbol to do that. But uh, for the computer to select, you have to use something called uh, if. So what is a if statement? Basically, now I would tell you. So if statement contains a contains a statement which it evaluates within it, and if the result of the statement is true, then it proceeds to do the operation that is under its control. Okay, what is control flow? That I would tell you in a moment, because we haven't done anything based on control flow yet. So basically, if has a statement within it, and uh, it evaluates the statement. If the statement comes to true, then it executes all the operation that is under its control. And if not, if the statement is false, then it does not execute any of the statements. Okay, so we'll see the syntax first. Write the definition. This is a if statement, or a if condition, I can say. This is the if. Oh, sorry, we write this as small. The syntax is if. This is the statement, and this is or functions or instructions, whatever you can say. Okay, so basically this is a syntax. So in syntax we write it like this, like in a pseudocode format, and not like the proper grammatical format of how a code is done. So I'll write it now. Wait, do a if, we do time. So our condition was that if time is less than 18. Okay, so that is what we consider morning right now. Then we would do this cout high, and otherwise we won't do anything. Okay, otherwise the just program just ends with say a return 0, which is not important right now, so I'm going to return right now. Okay, so we enter time, let's say it's 15, that means it's 3, and the program prints a high. Fine. So any questions till now? Like today class is very quiet. But still I have to like ask. I know you people are sick, but if you have joined, then I need some basic interaction as well. So this is how it's work. In Python, you must have writing, else is not compulsory, not at all. You see the program run, right? I'll run once more. Enter time. Else is not important at all. So the program runs. Okay, now the part. Now the important part. So now we want to test it that it works for anything greater than 80, right? So that is what was a basic intention, that for time greater than 6 p.m., that is 18 hours. So we give 19 and see nothing is printed. Okay, so now this is the if statement's definition is rather write this condition. So these are called conditional statements actually. So instead of writing the whole conditional statement, we just write condition. Okay, so I used a word scope here. Okay, and I before I used control flow. So what are this? So see, basically anything in this brackets, this parenthesis becomes a scope, and this this scope is what is linked to this if. So it can only execute anything in this part because that is its scope. It cannot see outside the scope. Like just in our class 12s or 10s, there was this big book called a scope. So that scope is basically the reach or the range of things that we can do. So if range is till this two brackets, and these are called curly braces or second brackets, as you know, but in computer terms these are called curly braces. Okay, so within this curly braces it can see everything. Okay, but outside this it does not has any control. So if's control or scope is always between this curly braces. We'd also see what happens if you remove these curly braces. Like unlike Python, it's a bit different between Python and this. Python, you have this indentation, but here all the things are done under the scope. And if you remove the scope, then what happens? We'd see. But before we would come to else. Okay. So, okay, now your robot like functions fine, all right, no issues. Uh, but now, like you want if the time is greater than 18. Okay, why I've written scene time? Okay, I said as I said, you have to input the time in your robot, right? Because like the robot right now cannot. It's not like a so advanced robot that it can judge time on its own, like your phones can do. Okay, it's a very basic robot. So you have to give it time every time. So by that it understands that what is the time, and based on that it can operate. So basically providing the data. Iram, is that clear? The robot is an analogy. We are not really creating any robot or anything. It's an analogy to make you understand. Okay. So basically you're feeding a data and your program is deciding on its own how to act based on that data. Okay. But still that decision is also like you have only coded it. It's not like AI that it can decide on its own this to do or this not to do. Even in AI that's also coded. But anyways, we don't go into that. Like we have not reached that type of advanced level that the program has become sentient and it can do anything it wants on its own. That does not work here. Okay, acha, what is 18 here? Okay, so basically see, like you know the 24-hour time format, right? Like we start from 1 and then we go to 24. Like we start from 00 and we go to 24. So 1 is like 1 a.m., 2 is like 2 a.m., and then 12 is like 12 p.m., and then goes 13, 13 is 1 p.m., like that. This is the 24-hour format, you know. That's how clocks work. So 18 is like 6. So okay. Fine. So basically this is just to make you understand. Like we said, like if the number is less than 18, that is the time is less than 6 p.m. This is just an analogy. So less than 18 we'd print high. If it's not, then we'd won't do anything. So now coming to the next part is like we want to make a robot a bit more advanced. Like if the time is night, now you don't want him to print high. Don't want it to print high, and wanted to print like good night. Okay, so how we can do that? So basically this operation does not work then. So we have something called an else statement. Again, we'd go into the syntax first. So how else works? First, let me tell you that. So the if evaluates a condition, return 0 is not compulsory at the end of program. No, because like for int, the default value it's returned as 0. We'd cover that when you cover functions, but you can write return 0 if you want. Even if you don't, that won't be a problem. But for your safety, you can write, but the reason of return and the reason of 0, why this 0 and why not 1 or why not any other number, we would discuss it later when we study functions, not now. Okay. So you see, like we have to go step by step. Like you also could have a question like, how does this left shift operator work in place of C out? Like this is not shifting bits. How can it shift high number of bits? What is a high number of bits? So this this works something called some with a concept called operator overloading. Okay, so that is also I can give you a bit of detail when we go into functions, not now. Okay, because then everything will be messed up and you would not understand anything. So that's it. But just remember this statement when you're doing like C out, just ignore this left shift operation. That is not that is not the left shift we studied. Operator overloading is a concept where we change the way the operator works. So if you want, you can make plus to work as minus. Okay, so it's a bit complicated. Java decided against operator overloading, so there is no operator overloading in Java, but it's in C++. So C++ gives you a lot of control. That's why you're studying it, but there is also a chance of more errors. That's how it balances things. Okay, so like we're saying, else statement. Okay, so if evaluates a condition, if the condition is true, it's fine. It works all the things in between it. But let's say if it's false, then you also want to do something. You just don't want to end the program. So that is when it jumps to the else control flow. That is to the scope of the else. But we did not do anything. We did not write a else scope. So it did not found the else scope. So automatically it went to the end of the program. Fine. So else statement syntax is, but this automatically like makes it capital. Don't know why. Okay. So this time I'll only write instructions because you already saw. Like I wrote operations, executions, and instructions. So there are reasons why I wrote three, because like it can be operations like plus plus and all that. It can be executions like function calls, which we have not studied. It can be just simple instructions like A equals to B or just a C out. So that's how it works. So we just wrote instructions like because instruction covers everything. All operations executions are instructions only, as we discussed on the very first day of our class, that a programming is a set of instructions. Yes, without return a recursion would not work. But like, why are we talking about recursions right now? That is not the scope of this class. If you know what I mean, that is not the range of this class. So I think we should only limit our discussions between. Yeah, you can ask, that's fine. But like also concentrate on this so we can finish it within time and everybody is happy because a lot of people are sick. So we should finish it in time. We have 22 minutes, I think, which would be enough, should be enough. Okay, so as I was saying, like, so if evaluates the condition, if it turns false, it goes to else. So wait, first write the else, then check the output, then write the definition. Fine. So as I said, now if the time is greater than 6 p.m. or if the number, basically the number is greater than 18 or equals to 18, you can say, then we'd like print a good night. So executing this code, time is 19. See, it prints a good night. So now the definition. Okay, so as I wrote, if the condition within the if statement is evaluated as false, then the control jumps to the scope of else and executes the operations under it. So the control is basically, oh no, it's not. I'm like about, my highest was like 84 and the average is like 71 or 60, 70, 69 to 71. That's my average, not 200. Why we don't put colon after it, or no, 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 no. We don't put colon after it. This is how C++ syntaxes work. Syntaxes work. Like, because why don't you put colon after it is this shows the start and end. Okay. And this is how the C++ compiler works as well. As I said, if you even if you don't do this, something happens. So even if you remove this, it would be the same. So colon is for that type. I mean, if see, every compiler is designed in a certain way. When you'd like learn more about compilers, you'd know something called parsing. So parsing is basically it takes all of this data time after time and it evaluates like that. So it takes a int and then it sees like what is a int. So it sees it's a data type. Okay. Uh, then it stores it as a data type. I mean, I'm talking about the compiler. And in Python, the compiler is designed like that, that it sees an if, and then it expects it to be a colon to see whether if uh, scope starts. Okay. Without it, it cannot understand. I mean, that's how everything in Python works. Basically, each new scope, you have to begin with it with a colon. But that's not how C++ works. Yeah. I mean, this was bound to happen when you do different languages. You always ask like why that happens there and not works here. So when I was doing like C++ in class 12, and they did not teach us string. I mean, string is a data type in Java, and they told us like there is nothing called a string data type in C++, which is completely void. String is not present in C and not C++. String is a data type in C++, which you have to cover later. So I was like really confused, like why Java has a string, and C++, which is such a important language, does not have a string data type. So yeah, this type of questions are bound to occur. No issues. So basically, where we are at decision making, and we now saw that how a program can decide based on the condition. So I'd just ask you one question here. Let's say our input is 18. So what do you think would be the output? Guys, if you could be a bit fast, like within 15 seconds, I think you should be able to answer this.
Good
If you
night.
yeah, okay. Anyone else? Yeah, fine. Anyone else? Okay, Ankita says hi, the only one. Okay, Ankita, why do you think it's an hi? Okay, fine, guys. We get it. Like, good night. But I want to know why Ankita thinks it's an hi. So, would you like to justify your answer? Maybe you are correct. Who knows? We haven't hit enter yet. Any justifications about your answer? Okay, Apurup, why are you justifying it for her? Okay, so it's less than, as you said. Okay, the question was like, see, we are inputting 18 in time, and then we would run this program after hitting the enter. I'm asking is what would be the output after hitting enter? We haven't hit enter yet. So it would be hi or good night, something like. So what would that be? That is the question. Most people have said good night. Only Ankita says it's hi. Rom says good night after a long time. Okay, so yeah, I'll press enter and then I'll tell you why it is what that is showing. Okay, so it's a good night. See, so basically, time is now equals to 18, but time is not less than 18, right? 18 is equals to 18, but not less than 18. So this is false. And if this is false, the only place it can go is here, because we did not give it like this. So this condition is false currently what it is. And if it's false, as I said, it goes to else, and it executes all the operations under it, and it prints a good night. So the output is a good night. I hope that's clear. I mean, if it's not clear, I can re-explain as well. Anyone who thinks it's not clear might put a no in the chat. No one? Okay, clear. Any no's? Okay, no, clear. That's nice. Okay, so fine. Okay, so moving ahead. Okay, so there is another statement called an Elsif. So you are becoming more choosy now. Okay, you are not satisfied with only night and high. You want something even more advanced. So if the time is more than 18, now you'd also want to check that if it's between 19 and 20, say for just for example. So as we saw that in the else, you cannot write a statement. This is not valid. You cannot write a statement in else. So How to write a statement in else? We do an else if. So if does not execute, then we check in else if, and it can have a condition inside it, that is a statement or a condition, it's basically called a conditional statement, but I'll write condition just uh, for short. So else if can have a condition. So if it does not execute, you don't want to directly jump into else. You want even more conditions in it. So you write else ifs. Okay. So I try to see else if in the syntax. No, we can't. That's only for Python. And we cannot write else if in Python. So that works. Have everything. Okay. So okay. Now we're going to the program. Else if. Basically, we want to check if time is between 19 and 20, then we'd print like a good evening. Okay. So now this comes like this would be a condition you haven't seen yet. So first I'll explain how the condition works. So you have seen and right. You know, like and checks between two evaluated conditions and does the AND operation on them and then returns the final result. So if time is greater than 18, then it's an 1. And if time is less than equals to 20, that is 19 or 20, say, so then it also returns at 1. So this one and 1 it will be 1. That is the only case where it would go inside this. But let's say if time is 21, I mean the time value we enter is 21, then this part would satisfy, no confusion about that. But this part won't satisfy. So this is 1 and a 0. 1 and 0 becomes 0 and operation, as I said. And then it becomes a false. 0, as I said, is false. So it does not go into this. Then it jumps into this again. So when do we use and? And is used when we want both of the conditions to be true, not one. Okay. So the left condition, how many conditions you want? We want all the conditions to be true here, not one. All the conditions to be true. So only then we just execute this. So as I said, like I want it to be between 19 and 20, 20 included. So I'm doing and that's how both the conditions would have to satisfy, and then we can print a like good evening. We'll execute this. Time is greater than 18, but time is also less than equals to 20. So this works. One more example. Oh, this is a problem with VS Code that I found out. If you select a statement and run, then for some reason it does not work. Very weird. Okay, see, good evening. Okay, now another case, like let's say we only wanted to be greater than 18, or we only wanted to be greater than 18 or less than 20, anything. Like basically we are doing this only, but still, like even if it's 19, we would print like a good evening. Even if it's greater than 20, I mean any one of this things should satisfy, right? So if it's greater than 18, it does not need to be less than 20. In that case, what would you use? Can you guys remember? Like we want to satisfy only one condition here. So let's say for 19 it would print a good evening, and for 20 it would also print a good evening, because we are trying to satisfy only one condition here. Can you remember from our previous classes, like what operator should we use here? What checks two conditions and does a What can I say? If I say this, then the answer would be clear. Okay, I'll still say this. What checks two operators and does a OR operation between them? And since this is conditional statements, of course, it will be a conditional operator. So I think I would like the sign, please, not an OR, because OR is in Python and not in. Okay, everybody is so obsessed with Python that people are not learning C++ and writing OR. Okay, yeah, it's a OR operator with this double bar type of sign. Yeah, so basically what this does is it does the OR operation. So for OR, if any of it is true, the whole condition is true. For AND, both needs to be true. Then only it can be one. But for OR, left hand side can, if it's one, and then it would work. And if right hand side is one, then it would also work. The other statement need not be true. Okay, so you'd see. Goes to good evening. So basically, before it was giving good night if you type 21, but now it's giving good evening because this is how the flow works. Now comes to the control flow. So listen to this very carefully. Okay. So the if condition first evaluates, checks the condition, then goes to else if, checks the condition, then goes to else. But if any of it is satisfied, it does not goes to the next part. It goes out of this if else if else whole conditional type of statements that are there. It does not evaluate anymore. Okay, so else only executes when all of this is false. Other than that, it does not execute. And else if only executes if is false. Now I would like to show you a more interesting thing. You would answer this. Let's see if you can. Okay, it's less than. Give it like this. And I will give it a value of 15. Now, what do you guys think? Apurv basically did my mind what I was trying to do. But why Apurv? Okay, Sanjukta says hi. Okay, anyone else with any other opinion? Ankita says hi. Only Apurv says hi, good evening. Okay, everyone says hi. Okay, Sanjukta tries to recorrect his answer or change his answer. It will check both the statements, right? Yeah, Apurv's answer is still wrong, right? And even Sanjukta's answer is still wrong. If we are really going into the details. Okay, so I'll just present that. See, the reason why your answer was wrong is because you did not mention the space between this. You mentioned a space, but there is no space. So that was why your answer was wrong, Apurv. That's it. So how this works is a lot of teachers don't say this while they are covering decision making. So basically what happens is else if only executes when if is false. Okay, but if even if is true and there is another if, then that also executes. So this if is not dependent on the if before this or any of the if before this. So if you write like 3 4 ifs, all those would be like working uh, like as a separate if uh, that has its own power to check. So it's not an else if, it's an if. So even if that above if is false or true, it does not care. It just cares about whether this condition is true or not. Then it executes the part. And this else is only of this if. So only if this if is false, then only this else executes. I'll give you an example. So you might think that if time is, what if time is greater than 20? So this if will be, I mean time is greater than 18. So this if will be false, but it won't execute this else because the else is a part of just the previous if condition and not the first if condition. So we'll see. Okay. See, it prints good evening. It does not go to the else because this satisfies and this else is part of this if, or the complement of this if. Like if and else work together, you cannot have an else without an if, right? Next day we'll be covering something called a dangling if else. Today we won't. So that is a special case of if else. I mean, error type of thing, but it's not an error. Okay, something odd happens there. Okay, so is this clear? How if and else works and how else if works. So else if complements an if. So if does not satisfy, then else if satisfies. If that does not satisfy, then else satisfied. But every if is a separate identity, is not dependent on the if before it. So an if condition would always check itself. Even if the condition above it is false or true, it does not care about that. Okay, so we have like 3 minutes or 4 minutes. We'd just extend the class by 4 minutes and we'd end on 7:20. Sorry, I mean 7:10. Don't get freaked out and get a heart attack. So we'll just write an else if definition. I think you all also know this because you're studying Python. So other than the syntax, like everything is pretty much clear to you, except that dangling else if problem. Have you been taught the dangling else if or if else problem in the class? You type while I type as well. Oh, okay, right, nice. So what we did till now is like we did a lot of good things today. Like we wrote programs, right? So till now we are just writing snippets, but today we wrote how a flow of the program works, and this is very important. Like why are you, when are you like doing your own solutions? You have to divide your program always. So that's when the flow comes. Like see, I first declared, then taken an input, then done the processing part, and then done the output part. So this flow is very important when you're solving complex problems. So you have to divide the things like we have to how we take the input. Even when we are doing CP, like competitive programming on CodeShip, you have to divide it, like how we are going to take the input, how we are going to enter the inputted things in a specified data that is given, and then how we are going to process it, and then the output. So this flow is important. We did not do all of this before, so today we saw how the basic programming flow works. Okay, so because you cannot like teach this, you have to see, experience, write your own stuff, and that's how your flow gets made. So you cannot like teach good programming practices, even though you'd see a lot of videos on YouTube teaching you, but that's not how it works. You do your programming and you have an own style. Everyone has an own style to their coding, and you cannot like teach my style to your. But when you are like doing good practices, the style becomes very similar. So you cannot teach good practices. With time it automatically comes, but you can still see like some good practices video, and they'll show you how to type. Because see, in CP you don't need good practices or anything, you just need the output. Okay, I was writing instructions, right? Okay, so 5 minutes. It covers switch cases very fast. So we have seen if, else if, and another way of doing decision making is switch cases. And if I can just finish the definition, it will be fine. So see, you have all seen like switches in your home, right? So a switch has like basically two states, which is an on or a off. So you flip the off side and the light goes off, you flip the on side and it goes on. And if you reverse the connections, and then you can like flip the off side and it would go on and like that. But here also switch kind of means the same thing, but instead of having only two states, you can have as number of states as you want. So imagine a polygon type of switch, like let's see if I can draw this. Though this is not feasible, but just okay. Why is this not opening? Takes time. Even this takes time open. What? Okay, so basically, sorry. Basically, a switches have two states. You can flip it this side or flip it that side. Let's say our switch has even this side, so you can flip it this, and you can have another block like this. So now see, you have so many states. This goes. You can flip this side, this side. All can do a something different operation, but this is not feasible because you only want a light to be on and off, and not anything else. So having those many blocks is like useless. I even did not draw it rightly. It will be basically something like a start type of switch. Okay, let me not draw it anymore. So you get the idea. So basically switch cases have uh, different states or cases as we call them in programming, and if that case satisfies, then the operations or executions under that thing, like under that scope of that case, works. So even we'll just see the syntax for now and not the definition. I think is kind of more or less clear. So switch, you can switch a variable, let's say a, and then you have the scope of the switch, and then you have like case 1, case 2, covering in it in detail in the next class, case 3, case 4, and dot dot dot, how many cases you want. Okay, but under after each case there comes a break. What is this break? We'd go through that as well, and dot dot dot. Okay, so this is important. The data you're switching can only be integer or character. Why? Because why character? Because character, as I told you, is also the inner mechanism of storing a character is also like an integer. Like it stores bits, and those bits give a integer, and corresponding to that integer, a symbol is stored. So within the like in the background, a character is also like an integer. So you can do this as well. Case 1 where 1 is the character. So I'll just note it here. We'll go through the definition next day. So till this is clear, like the analogy I give might be like sounding hilarious, but that's how it works. Okay, a switch has different cases or states, and if that case satisfies, the all the executions under that is executed. So basically, if A is 1, every instruction within 1, every instructions under case 1 is executed. Okay, and similarly for case 2, case 3, case 4. Okay, if you have any questions, any doubts, any Python, C++ comparisons, anything you can ask. We have like 1 minute, and you'd be staying back for another 2 minutes, I guess, because they have some announcements. So questions or otherwise it's announcements. So the class like ends here. Okay, why CBP is faster? Okay, see, like CBP is faster because it's closer to the machine. Like all this code is uh, executed in a machine format. I mean, is converted into a language called assembly language. I'd show you how a assembly language looks. See, this is an assembly language. Okay, and the equivalent file of this assembly language is this. So this is converted to this. Now see, Python, what it does is uh, Python, everything is an object. So that object converting that to this takes way more time because there are intermediate steps. And as Kajal is saying, like compile directly, all the compilation of C++ occurs at once, and then it's converted to like uh, then the execution occurs. But in Python, like every line is first calculated. Every line is first compiled, that is called interpreted, then the execution occurs. So you can see, like, even if you write a Python program, you can try this, and if there is an error in the, say, line 10, all the lines till line 9 would execute first, okay, and then that error would give. But in C++, if you have any error, then the program would not run, but in Python the program runs. So, but that is like not the exact issue why is it faster, why C++ is faster, but Python is slower because it everything is an object. So that object conversion to this machine code, the assembly code that I showed, takes more time. So that's why it is like slower. And also the interpreted is also a reason, because it goes line by line, and not compiled beforehand only. So it takes a bit of time. But see, if you do basic stuff, then the uh, runtime would be almost the same. But when you're doing uh, advanced stuffs with data structures and all that, and running more loops and doing more mathematical calculations on arrays and all that, that takes time. So that's the reason. It's a long reason. Like there is no one word answer why CPP is faster. It's a plethora of reasons how Python is made. Python and Java are like pick up and code type of languages. You can just see a bit of instructions and you can do that. But C++ is not that. Like you can pick up and code that easily. There are a lot of things you need to go through. Like if you pick up, you can do basic stuff, but then you'd whenever you go into bit advanced, then you'd like get a lot of errors, and those errors would mean nothing. I mean, would not make sense. Like, why is this happening? But in Java and Python, you can just pick up and do it, and the errors are even easy to identify. Like it's name error, type error. So Python's errors are easy to understand, but C++ errors are like weird. It gives memory addresses as errors, and how can I understand what is that if you don't have a understanding about memory? So that is what, like, so the point of saying is this, that no language is better or worse. Everything has its own use case. So if you're teaching someone who has no interest in languages, you'd go to Python because it's easy. It's pickup and code type of, or Java, but Java is a lot long typed language, so no one likes that nowadays. So Python is the choice. But if you like want to know how the things are happening behind the scenes, then you would go for C++. Okay, I do what? Okay, you guys can start your announcements. I don't think if you have any questions, like other than C, why C++ is, yeah, Kajal likes Java. Probably I like Java too, but these days I'm going to C++ because it's not that much typed, and like you understand a lot of concepts about how things are happening behind the scenes. That's why. Anyways, questions other than why this is better and why that is bad? Basically, why we are teaching you C++, if still you have like this doubt, and we have said this like 1,000 times now, that CBP runs faster than Python, and there are like a lot of data structures that can help you. And basically, it would not get you a TLE, but Java gets you a TLE in a lot of cases, and Python will do as well. So if you are doing programs on CodeShip, C++ is just safe. Anyways, any more questions? So today you can't say that I've extended the class. This was only answering after class questions. So class is not extended. Maybe extended 4 minutes. Anyways, if you don't have questions, then you guys can go ahead with the announcement.
Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
So you can fill out the feedback form for Sohag to read. And so I think most of you must have heard about Hack for Bengal by now. So I'm just here to tell you about that. Sohag, can you stop sharing? I want to show them something. Thank you. Okay, I hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so most of you must have heard about Hack for Bengal. It's a 48 hours hackathon organized by Skepsis, that is the technical committee of Sister Nivedita University. So, as a community partner, CodeChef SNE chapter also wants you all to participate in this because we will be conducting some exclusive sessions there as well. And also, we will be having 2 to 3 contests where you can win swags from CodeChef. And those swags will include pens, stickers, notepads, and maybe t-shirts. Like we are trying to get t-shirts for you, so you can get t-shirts. I'm sharing the link of this website. Okay, you can just go there and join our Discord. Also, you can click on this button, apply with Dayfolio, and apply to this whole hackathon. Only if you apply for this hackathon, then you can attend the second contest. There will be 2 to 3 contests, and the first one will be for everyone who is in CODE INIT, and the second one will be exclusively for people who are in Hack for Bengal. So you have to apply for it if you want to attend. Also, if you want to know how to, you can see video that has been posted in our Discord announcement channel. You can go there and check this out. This is the video. You can check this out. It's a 2-minute video, so it won't take much time. And if you have any other queries, you can go to the ticket support. Here is a channel named Ticket Support. You can create a ticket and ask your question there. Okay. And if anyone has any doubts, you can ask me now as well. Hello. Hello.
Where is the video posted?
The video is posted in our Discord channel. We will be uploading it in our YouTube by tomorrow. But for now, you can see it in our Discord channel. I'm sharing the link as well. Wait. You can join our Discord and check the video there. It will be much easier for you. If you have any doubts, you can ask me now. Otherwise, you can ask me in the Discord server as well. And if you don't have any doubts, then we'll see you in the next week. Because day after tomorrow, we are having exams. So we won't be able to take any sessions tomorrow. Any session today.
Okay, in which channel it is uploaded?
Announcements channel. Okay, that was it for today. Do fill that feedback form. I'm sharing the link again. So I'd love to read your feedbacks, especially the odd ones.